our top story tonight is on the question that whether the Ukraine-Russia war could see further escalation. And I say that because of the developments that have happened in the region. While US President Joe Biden, in a first, has given the green light for the use of long-range missiles for Ukraine to fire into Russia. While these missiles are expected to be deployed into the Kursk region, reportedly Biden's decision comes as Russia escalated its aggression, including a massive drone and missile attack targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has reacted to it, saying that, quote, such things are not announced, the missiles speak for themselves, and these missiles will bring, quote-unquote, glory to Ukraine. Meanwhile, Russia has also reacted. The Kremlin's top spokesperson, Dmitry Peskov, has said that it would view it as a new round of escalation of tensions, and Biden is trying to stoke tensions in the region. Remember, Russian President Vladimir Putin has previously as well cautioned nations against such a move. So the big question is, what's caused this policy shift by the United States, and how will this change the course of the war? And most importantly, could there be further reaction from Russia? We'll discuss all of those questions in just a bit with our expert panel who's joining us tonight. But let's first listen into an excerpt of the Ukrainian president's address.
Сьогодні був один з найбільших та найбільш небезпечних за всю війну російських ударів. 210 дронів і ракет одразу, в тому числі гіперзвукова та аеробалістичні. Більшість цілей, на щастя, вдалося збити. Мішенню для Росії була саме енергетика, критична інфраструктура. І це відповідь усім, хто хотів чогось досягти з Путіним розмовами, телефонними дзвінками, обіймами, умиротворенням. План посилення України – це план перемоги, який я представив партнерам. Одним з головних пунктів є далекобійність для нашої армії. Сьогодні багато в медіа говорять про те, що ми отримали дозвіл на відповідні дії. Але удари завдають не словами. Такі речі не анонсують. Ракети самі за себе скажуть. Обов'язково. Слава Україні!
And to discuss the implications of these recent developments, and I'm now joined by Major General K.K. Sinha. He's a defense expert, of course, and Meera, Shankar, former Indian ambassador to the United States. Thank you very much, ma'am and sir, for joining us here on ET. Now, let me come to you, sir, first. What are these long-range missiles really intended at, and how do these really charge up Ukraine's side so far as whether escalation of the war is concerned or getting Russia on the negotiating table is concerned?
Good evening and Jai Hind. Your question pertains to the permission granted by Biden for using Army tactical missile system, which they have got, which has got a max range is 300 kilometers. HIMARS, about 80 kilometers, and France and UK also cleared it of Shadow Storm, and also Scalp, which is the same missile of both. Now, how is going to change the course of the war? The war is at this juncture where everyone is strategically thinking that probably it will get over the moment Trump takes on by 20th of January next year. And by March, something like, some peace proposal where the Ukraine has to, cede certain areas. That is the general line on which, Trump was thinking, and he's working on it. Now, just before that, after this elections, what has happened on 5th of November, and thereafter, the Trumps getting the majority and winning, with a thumping majority, the whole world, where the, dynamics are shifting. Now, what has happened and how it's going to change the war? It has got two, perspectives. One perspective is that, is it, the Trump is also on the board? Is it only that, the present administration, Biden administration, with MIC, that is the military industrial complex, which is also a part of it, where there are, senators are there, congressmen are there, that there is a military in that, whether they have, wants to prolong it or change the whole setup, that, where even the Trump will not able to take on, even if Trump takes on, that is also a perspective to see. Or whether, Russia will wait for some time till the time Trump takes over, because Trump has been saying that within a day or two, or within a short time, he will able to,
Right.
stop the war.
Right,
Now,
right, sir. But could you explain? Sir? Could you explain what are these long-range missiles really intended at? What are they really good at, and how will they really aid Ukraine, whether it is, in terms of launching an offensive against Russia is concerned, or perhaps some other moves?
yeah, basically, I think they are looking forward in the area of Kursk, where probably the Ukraine is the biggest surprise of this complete war. When in September we have seen in the autumn counteroffensive has taken in the Kursk area, and probably an area which is something like a bridgehead. The center is the Sudja area, and when the same river is there and it is near the Kursk area. There, 1,000 square kilometer has been taken. Russia has amassed about 50,000 troops, with about 10,000 troops from North Korea, which has come, and now they have evoked a mutual defense cooperation between North Korea and Russia, and probably offensive will be on a counter-offensive where they will take this area. Russia is gaining, in a big way in the eastern side, in the eastern theater, right from, if you see, from the Kharkiv right up to Zaporizhia area, and they're pushing it. Now, with this, permission that,
Right, sir.
they can use army tactical missile with 300
Right.
kilometers, they will able to hit basically the air bases. There is, it is south of
Okay.
Tula. Moscow south is Tula, south of Lipstick, where their
Okay.
air base is there. Kursk has got
Okay.
air base. And Vonage, if
So
this is the area,
you're
geographical
saying that
area.
Ukraine could be looking at attacking Russia's air bases. On that point, let me go to you, Ms. Shankar, and thank you very much for patiently waiting. What's your first reaction on the kind of developments that we are seeing? Should this be called as an escalation on Ukraine's side, or is it Ukraine's right to defend itself? What is this move really intended at? And second part to my question is that Russia has also reacted, stating that this should be viewed as an escalation and that Biden is adding fuel to the fire. What do you think Russia is going to react further and in a more aggressive fashion, or how this is going to develop over the next few months or days?
Look, I don't think we can predict how it complicated situation. Yes, it's an escalation in terms of what the Americans are permitting Ukraine to do. And you see that the Americans have been systematically escalating both the kind of weaponry that they are supplying to Ukraine. First, they were not supplying tanks, then they were not supplying fighter jets, and they have supplied them. Then they weren't supplying longer range missiles. They have started supplying them. Then they didn't permit Ukraine to use those inside Russian territory, but only in Ukrainian territory occupied by Russia. And now Biden has given the permission for Ukraine to use these missiles inside Russian territory. And the UK and France have followed suit with the missiles that they have supplied to Ukraine. The general expectation is that this will not change the course of the war. Some people, including in Poland, have characterized it as too little, too late. But Russia has been making systematic gains in eastern Ukraine, taking villages and settlements, and being in a position to threaten some key cities which are part of Ukraine's logistics hub. Ukraine, on its part, has taken the Kursk region of Russia, and Russia is poised to actually try to take it back with the 50,000 troops, Russian troops, and we don't really know how many North Korean troops, but Western sources say 10,000 North Korean troops are also there. And they justify their escalation, saying that Russia's use of North Korean troops is also an escalation. Now, the Russians have responded, the government has responded fairly soberly. It's been quite sober in its comment. You know, Dmitry Peskov has basically called this a new stage of escalation and a new situation. And he has referred to Putin's statement in October, where Putin had said that if this permission to use Western missiles inside Russia is given, Russia will consider
Right.
this as Western countries being at war with
Right.
Russia, because those missiles cannot be targeted
Absolutely.
without satellite intelligence
Right.
and other logistic
Right.
support provided by the countries whose missiles are being used. And then he said that
Right, ma'am.
Russia have to take an appropriate response. He did
Right.
not spell it out. And in the light of the fact that the US is divided, you know, Donald Trump Jr.,
Right, ma'am.
Trump's
Ma'am,
son, has called this an
ma'am, I'll
imbecile
have to
decision.
interject. I'll have to interject. Yes. Yes. Ma'am, we'll talk about that angle in just a little bit. And very important point that you raised about an attack against, one NATO country could actually be considered as an attack, and hence there could perhaps be a larger war. But ma'am, this move also marks a major policy shift so far as the United States is concerned, which has for months refused to agree to Kiev's request for authorization to use these missiles outside its own borders. So why is Biden allowing for a policy reversal at this point in time when Donald Trump is likely to join in perhaps the next 2 months or maybe less than 2 months as US president, and he has a completely different policy so far as ending the war in Ukraine is concerned?
Please. This question.
All right, we seem to have lost that connection with Ms. Shankar, but sir, could you take up that question?
Yeah, you have asked why the Biden has done it at this juncture, when he has not permitted and now. See, one point, school of thought and one analysis can be, see, Biden, the way he has been, out, and then the Kamala also, see, has lost in a big way. Now, the Republican think that, probably if the Donald Trump comes, and Donald Trump, the way he's talked, and his first term was there was no war. And he's promising, probably the way it is being done. The military industrial complex is also severing there. They had about 300% jumps. And the deep state, which we talked about in United States of America, there are a number of senators and the congressmen also of the view that, it should carry on. It is happening in West Asia, it's happening in especially in Eurasia. They want to just be in transatlantic area. He may evoke if there's something happens and Russia retaliates before that, and somehow the Trump is not taken over, then probably there is an emergency clause. This also because we can't just rule it out. It happened in 6th January Capitol Hill attack, when we have seen last time, but the presidency was changing. They can go to any extremes because we have seen the assassination attempts was taken place on Donald Trump when he was just a prospect, president of the United States of America. He has come in a big majority. World is severing. There are a lot of power, especially from the West Asia also. The China is involved. Russia, if they will like to have, but I think, the time is too short to do it. The way they polish, now they are
Right,
coming,
sir.
it's too late to, because number of, NATO countries
Right,
are
sir.
not in favor in this, that, it should carry on like this, but it has got
Right, sir.
implications.
Right, sir. So if the understanding, sir, if the understanding is that if a ceasefire indeed comes under Biden, how will that be really different from one that could be arrived at by the Trump administration? Because remember, Ukrainian side and of course supporters of Biden's policy have been rather jittery about whether Trump will be able to provide assistance or not.
See, Biden, one line was there. They have taken that they will not, this was the clear-cut policy that they can't allow Russia to win in anyhow. That's why it's a prolonged number of times peace proposal has come. The war in February 2022, just 1 month after that, But Boris Johnson, that of UK Premier, he has rushed to the Kiev and tried to stop it from Zelensky to join. And every time, because it is also about more than $300 billion worth of the frozen asset of Russians. They do not want, that should happen. Zelensky has been speaking that he has got a peace proposal where he doesn't want to lose even a single inch of ground, which is not pragmatic, which is not possible. Donald Trump, especially with Elon Musk, they are saying Elon Musk has spoken in 22 end that the Ukrainian has to be ready and be pragmatic to cede certain areas. And that is the way the Trump was working. And probably it will happen that way
sir.
if it carries on.
Right, sir.
Because Zelensky's plan is very dangerous.
So, sir, my follow-up question. Yes, sir. So my follow-up question to that point is, how do you see that war now ending? Do you see it at all ending diplomatically because of the kind of reactions that we've gotten from Donald Trump Jr., who obviously has hit back at the Biden administration, then Russia is hitting back at the Biden administration, also calling it as an escalation. Do you see this war ending diplomatically?
Diplomatically, yes, but something on a pragmatic ground, which has been because the military's ground situation has to dictate. It is not only the Crimea, but in the province,
Right.
about 20% of the territorial area of that, which is the prime land of Ukraine, is in the hand of Russia. So they have to cede something. Otherwise, it will never happen. You see, Russians have got a major casualties in this. They have, they have sustained it more, 3 years is approaching. They have to be practical. But Zelensky seems to be not. And somehow, the Biden and MIC, joining in the hand, they feel that, it is possible to prolong it. Russia may not, react the way, because every time red line has been crossed. The NATO numbers has increased. Finland, Sweden, they have joined. Russia has not. Russians' major thing, even, Nord Stream was hit. Russia has not. Crimea number of time. Russia says that we have got, even the crux area, when they have got that autumn offensive, counteroffensive with the Ukraine as total surprise. They are sitting 1,000 square kilometer Russian, but Russians are, restraining it. Putin is restraining just because they think that they will take care of. And now when they are ready to take on, Kursk has to be cleared, and he is going to clear it. And what may come? If they see,
That
if the
when you
NATO...
say that Russia is restraining, so when you say that Russia is restraining, we've known that Moscow has massively increased its number of drone strikes in Ukraine, and in fact more than 2,000 were launched. Well, that's the latest update that's coming in so far as the Russia-Ukraine war is concerned, and we do hope that a solution can be arrived at so far as that war is concerned, and all of these developments will not lead to further escalations. On that note, thank you very much, sir, for sharing your thoughts and joining us right here on ET.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.